So we get to do another Samsung Galaxy Tab A8 comparison, and this time around it's between the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8 that just came out and the Samsung Galaxy Tab A7, the predecessor of this specific tablet in a way. Now if you want to pick up these, tablets if you want, links are down in the description. I might leave some other ones that I'd recommend this year too. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now on the outside, surprisingly, there are some similarities between them, okay? With the Samsung Galaxy Tab A7, you actually had a 10.4 inch TFT panel on the front, and its resolution was 1200 by 2000, and it was a pretty decent panel. I don't think it was like perfect or it was amazing, but I think it was good enough for the most part. I think the price tag, for it being like $299, I think I picked it up for a little bit cheaper than that. I think it was like a decent price to pay, but the thing I don't understand is Samsung makes some of the best panels for their other tablets and for other devices, so I do understand this is a budget tier device, but they could throw some like IPS panels here or some like OLED panels here too. The viewing angles on the A7 wasn't that great, but the Tab A8 also doesn't have that amazing of, a viewing angle either, but it is a little bit of a bigger 10.5 inch TFT panel on the Tab A8. Now funny enough, the resolution is a little bit lower, 1200 by 1920, but you're really not going to notice that big of a difference. At least I couldn't really tell that big of a difference, to be honest. Now on the outside you have USB Type-C ports on the bottom of both these things, but the build quality of the Galaxy Tab A8 is unbelievably better than the Tab A7. I think with the Tab A7, Samsung did a little bit of a different design choice on it. I don't know what it was, but with the Galaxy Tab A8, it definitely feels much more premium. So just from that thing alone, it actually is a little bit of a better feeling device, and some people may actually prefer that. Me personally, I don't want that to be an understatement. This is a really, really premium feeling device, and I'm actually pretty surprised about the difference between the Tab A7 and the Galaxy Tab A8. Now on the back, we have the aluminum back on the Tab A8, which looks and feels super premium. We have a single camera setup on the back as well. Now we don't have things like IP certification or wireless charging on either one of these, but typically tablets don't really come with those things either, so it's really not that big of a deal in my opinion. So in terms of the outside, I would definitely give it for the Tab A8, and it is a pretty big upgrade coming from the Tab A7 for sure in terms of build quality. Now in terms of the cameras, I really don't think these are like the strong suits of either one of these, and these are almost the same cameras between them. So on the back we have single 8 megapixel sensors, and on the front we have 5 megapixel sensors. Now you can do 1080p at 30 on the front and the back of both of these things, which is pretty interesting. So when it comes down to it, you are pretty much getting the same type of experience on both of these devices as far as I can tell. So I wouldn't really go from a Tab A7 to a Tab A8 if you're like, oh my goodness, that camera is going to be so much better. I would not do that. If anything, I would recommend going to a Tab S7. That is going to be that's going to be a way better experience than these tablets. However, from the camera standpoint, if you're taking photos or videos, or if you need to just have a tablet that has a camera with it, then I guess this isn't a bad option. This is one of the cheaper options you have in this standpoint, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But just keep in mind that the camera on this thing really isn't that great anymore, and even with the Tab A7 it wasn't really that great, and they pretty much put that same camera setup on the Tab A8, so I'm not really too sure what they were thinking there. But again, what are we going to do? There's not much we can do at this point. So in terms of the camera setup, that pretty much covers it up there. Now in terms of the longevity between them, theoretically the Galaxy Tab A8 is going to last at least like 1 year longer than the Tab A7, and the only reason I even think that is because the Tab A7 came out 1 year before the Tab A8, so that's one thing to keep in mind. There was about a 1.5 year difference from when these two came out, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Tab A8 lasted a little bit longer than the Tab A7, meaning like an extra 2 years. I don't think that's going to happen, but because of the difference between these two in terms of like the year cycle they came out, I guess we're going to have to see what happens there. But in terms of that pretty much covers it up in the longevity. Now in terms of the performance side of things, the Galaxy Tab A7 had that Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 chipset inside of it with 3 gigs of RAM on the base model, 4 gigs of RAM on the top tier model, and I guess that's only the top tier model they had. With the Galaxy Tab A8, I guess we have this Unisoc Tiger T618 CPU chipset, which I haven't really heard too much about. And we also have 3 gigs of RAM on the base model and then 4 gigs of RAM on those 2 top tier models. And this is what I'll tell you about the performance. On the Galaxy Tab A7, I kind of thought the performance was okay, like at best. I wasn't a fan of the specific phone because of the performance that I got from it. And I do understand that the price tag, it's supposed to be a cheaper tablet. And I think I had the Tab S7 in mind when I was comparing it to this thing, and even the iPad 8th generation at that time. And I was like, man, those tablets are so much faster. The Tab S7 should be faster for sure, but the iPad 8 A8, I mean, those two things are kind of the same price tag, and that iPad felt way more premium than this tab, so I didn't understand what was going on there. I guess now I do kind of see what's going on, and I guess the Tab A8 is a little bit of a better performing device when it comes down to it. I will say, from what I'm seeing, the Tab A8 is a pretty good upgrade from the Tab A7, and it's making me really happy about what the Tab A9 could bring, because that tablet could be like the best tablet Samsung makes. They perfected the build quality in my opinion, and if they just go ahead and improve on the performance and the display, this would be a iPad killer in my opinion. Those are the two things they have to do in my opinion. Now with the Tab A7, like I mentioned, performance is good enough. I guess, for the price that it is now, it's gone down in value a little bit more. So it may be, a little bit of a better performing machine if you go to the Tab A8, which in my opinion isn't amazing, but I do think it's an upgrade from the Tab A7. So whenever I'm doing like basic things like swiping between the pages, or I'm opening up applications, basic ones, and different things like that, I think it does a good job at everything that I've kind of, thrown at it. I didn't really have too many issues with apps crashing or anything. I did experience that on my Galaxy S21 FE that just came out, and with a lot of One UI 4 devices that I had, they are experiencing a lot of issues. I just really hope Samsung perfects One UI 4, but since the Tab A8 came out with One UI 3, I haven't really had too many issues with it, which is really good. Whenever I was doing anything pretty basic or even like kind of highly intensive, things like playing kind of heavier intensive games and stuff, I think that tablet did a pretty decent job. But like I mentioned, when you have something like the Tab A7 and you're comparing it to the Tab A8, this isn't like night and day differences. I would say it's a little bit faster, but even with the Tab A7, the performance wasn't amazing. It was like good enough, I guess. The Tab A8 is a little bit better than good enough, but it's still not like, wow, this is the best value per dollar. I still don't think that, but I'm really excited about the Tab A9 because now that more people are aware of those types of issues, I think Samsung's going to have a hit on their hands for sure. So in terms of the performance, that covers it up there. Now in terms of the battery life, from what I know, these things have the same exact battery sizes inside of them. So 7,040 milliamp hour batteries. And again, that's a pretty good sized battery to have on this type of device. The display isn't like a 120 hertz crazy high panel, so that's not really sucking up too much battery. The displays don't go up in super high brightness either. And like I mentioned the other day, I haven't even charged my Tab A8 since I got it, and I still haven't had to charge it. It's still at like 60 or 50% or something like that, and that's actually pretty impressive. So I would definitely say both of them have pretty good battery life, and I may even say that the battery life is probably the best thing when it comes down to both of these. So in terms of that covers it up there. And in terms of everything else, what I'll tell you is, I think the Galaxy Tab A7 is good for its price at the point when it came out, but I definitely do think that the Galaxy Tab A8 is a pretty good upgrade going from the Tab A7. I mean, you're getting a better build quality in my opinion. You're getting a fingerprint sensor on that tablet as well, which is really cool. You're getting, I guess, better performance, a little bit. But my thing is like the build quality is much better, and because it could potentially last longer than the Tab A7, it just kind of makes sense to buy it. I'm not too sure if there's too many places that are still selling the Tab A7 or if it's like a slow release for the Tab A8. So if you want to wait like a week or two or a month or whatever to see if your local store has it, then I'd recommend buying it. But I did buy mine on Amazon and it was super easy. It came here like 2 days later. So I know Amazon has a lot of them. I don't think they're going to be sold out in a lot of places because a lot of people are waiting for the Tab S8 to come out. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But I'll definitely tell you the Tab A series devices are amazing. I hope Samsung takes it up a notch with the Tab A9. But I would definitely say the Tab A8 is a bigger upgrade to the Tab A7 than most people will probably realize. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up there. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.